Good afternoon, everyone. Live from Silicon Valley, California. This is Spiritual Fitness. My name is JM, and I welcome you all to a new series today, Success Sadhana, where we'll discuss the first superpower, an attitude of gratitude, with your host, Vaish, a veteran Bhakti yogi, author, and former monk. We have 10 members on Zoom and close to 25 members in Facebook. I have Sweka helping me out in managing social media today. Good afternoon, Vaish. Welcome to Success Sadhana series.
Thank you very much, JM. I'm so happy to see you and to be here and to see everybody else. Thank you very much for joining us today. Yes, today we're going to go into the first of our superpower series, because one of the great benefits of being a human is being able to discover our potency. Well, what powers do we actually have? What capabilities do we have? Oftentimes we hear statistics about what percentage we leave lying fallow, not used. And through the practices of bhakti yoga, one can actually open oneself to one's higher potentials in life. And one of the superpowers, which is actually a practice in and of itself, is gratitude. So today we're going to be going into gratitude. Is it something that just happens, or is it a culture, something that we can adjust ourselves to, or something we can instill within ourselves that gives us a much broader lens of the world? And what does it do for us? We're going to answer some of those questions today. As it so happens, in the process of yoga, there are various steps on the ladder of yoga. And one of them is bhakti. Bhakti is known in many circles as the top of the ladder. And it is because it's the yoga of gratitude and love. There is no more engrossing and empowering emotion than love or gratitude, through which we come to know so much about things that we otherwise can't penetrate, even with knowledge. For instance, in Gyan Yoga, we try to analyze everything. Through the process of Hatha Yoga, we restrain our senses and look inwardly. But through bhakti, or the yoga of love and gratitude, the secrets of the universe are opened to us. You may have this experience in your own lives that when somebody loves you, you tend to tell them about yourself. When there's that deep, love and deep, love is deep. So when we develop deep trust in somebody over a long period of time, and then the emotion of gratitude or love grows, there's a way in which we begin to open ourselves and share with others who we really are. So in this way, the great sages who have taught bhakti yoga over thousands of years point out that in our place in the universe, as entities who are born into a world in which we don't know what's really going on, who we are, where we're going, and so forth, the great secrets of the world can be revealed to us if we develop a sense of gratitude, which really means that we have a sense that things are coming from a benevolent personal source. And otherwise, who are we to be grateful to? So let's take a minute to get centered, as we usually do at the start of this program, and do some introspection on gratitude. So let's take a moment, just close your eyes, sit up a little taller than you were a second ago, and bring your awareness to your breath. And keep your mind alert, but relax. And breathe. And be aware of your breath as the energizing force, that which is nourishing your body, your mind, your brain cells, every cell in your body. Without it, we can't survive for even a moment or two. And as you're just breathing with an alert mind and the rest of you relaxed, I'm going to read you a verse and just let it go in. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. Such persons are liberated in the supreme, and ultimately they attain the supreme. In the commentary, unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. He or she can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahma Bhuta, or the stage of beginning spiritual consciousness. Henry David Thoreau writes, "We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn, which does not forsake us even in our soundest sleep. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of humankind to elevate their lives by conscious endeavor. It is something to be able to paint a particular picture or to carve a statue, and so to make a few objects beautiful. But it is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look, which morally we can do. To affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts." So as you're just noticing your breath, think of one thing, may not be a thing, maybe a person, that you're grateful for. Try to appreciate it and watch it grow in your consciousness as you appreciate that one thing that you're grateful for. And after you identify that thing or person, then wrap it up in a little present for yourself to bring back in a moment. And you can offer it to your external self as soon as you come out of this meditation. One person, one element you have in your life that you greatly appreciate, you're grateful for. Just wrap it up and hold on to that for a minute. And now to seal our meditation, we'll chant the mantra Om together. I'll say it, and then you can repeat it behind muted mics. And now our mantra, Nitai Gauranga, we'll say 3 times. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. And now, rub your hands together, bring some external sensation, open your eyes, come back into the room, and notice that you brought with you a gift that you received while you're in your meditation, something you're very grateful for. And this is a powerful realization oftentimes because we have many gifts in our lives, but often I take them for granted. And then on top of that, I might even develop a sense of entitlement. Well, that's not good enough. I deserve more than that. In such a state, we're no longer able to appreciate them as presents, nor are we able to appreciate the present moment. So in cultivating gratitude, there's an ontological way in which we're observing our place in the universe and that we have a relationship with the universe. This is called sambandha, or knowledge of our relationship with the world. And just like a child, if a child's spoiled and doesn't care for anything the parents do for him or her, or any gift that he or she receives, then of course they're known as a spoiled child and they're likely unhappy. In non-spiritual consciousness, or when I fall from my actual awareness of the gifts that are around me, I become like a spoiled child. And it's entitlement, which is gratitude's opposite, which turns the world gray. It makes everything not enough. On the other side, it's gratitude and it's culture, which teaches me my relationship, that I'm receiving gifts at every moment. I'm being maintained. And whatever kinds of gifts I'm receiving, then I'm able to reciprocate with the source of those gifts. And this is called yoga, in that reciprocation, my connection with my original conscious source from which all gifts are emanating. So that's a preamble to today's program, even though I used up 1/4 of the time allotted, but these are a few of the points. And let's just see if you have anything you want to put in the chat box. Did you bring anything back with you from your meditation that you wrapped up that you can open as a gift? Come on, light up that chat box now. You can just write anything, what you wish inside there, and see what you have. You probably have a lot to be grateful for. I mean, not probably, you definitely do. We all do. And as you're thinking about that, having the opportunity to be here, thanks, Charles. That's nice. That's really powerful, because having the opportunity to be anywhere, the very fact that I exist, I'm being maintained wherever I am, I'm something, I'm somewhere at that time. And one is feeling grateful for family. I have a friend who, very tight-knit family, and one of the relatives was traveling and met with a motor accident and passed away. And his family from then on, they had this habit now of always saying to each family member before he or she leaves the house, I love you. As they said, we wanted to say that to our beloved son or brother or sister or a brother before he left, but we just assumed he'd be back. And oftentimes we take family for granted. They're just there all the time. But then when they're not, we realize, oh, so they were giving so much. A friend who reads with me as a gift. Nice, Subhadra. And Josh says, my gift to myself is my cat Mojo. All right, Mojo. I pictured him with a red bow tied around his neck, even though he would never let me do that. I'll bet. And Linda says, I'm grateful for my little Italian mom who brought me a nice dinner to enjoy tonight after a long work week. Oh, that's nice. Grateful for my friend Mayank, Tony says. Positive vibration, Supa says. And Nicole says, it was nice to meditate with like-minded people. And Eric says, it felt so good to just breathe for a few moments and feel highlighted awareness. I'm feeling grateful for my spiritual teachers today. I like that phrase, highlighted awareness. And Mayank says, gratitude for guiding wisdom in this class. Oh, thank you for sharing those gifts that you brought back. Let's jump in for a second to a few slides. I have made a few notations about gratitude. Again, Bhakti Yoga is the yoga of love and gratitude. What is it about gratitude that changes our lives? So I'm trying to, and have hopefully here, simplified some of the points that are made in the ancient wisdom texts, which talk about our relationship with this world that we're in now, and also with our original conscious source. Who are we? And so forth. So I have to reveal to you a secret about myself right now. I hope you don't mind. And that is that whenever I'm traveling and I'm handed a disembarkation card to fill out, going into a foreign country, I fill out the whole thing and then I sit there oftentimes for an hour or two, wondering what to put under occupation. It always vexes me why I do that. It's like, who am I? What what do I actually do? And under occupation, I always imagine writing so many different descriptions. What is my actual occupation in life? I could write something like teacher or whatever, but my suggestion based on the yoga teachings for every one of us under occupation, see how this sits with you. Well, if you write in your disembarkation card, what is your occupation? It is appreciator. Occupation appreciator. So you go through the immigration and they'll look at your card and say, appreciator. What is that? It's like, well, I'm appreciating how efficient you are, sir, ma'am. Feel taking care of this border here, and how polite you've been, and so forth. It's good work if you can get it. But actually, this is what the ancient wisdom texts say we are. This is our main job as appreciators. After all, we didn't make everything around us, but we can appreciate it. And in fact, that's our occupation, is appreciator. So if you want to know, according to the ancient wisdom literatures, what your position is, what your occupation is in this universe, it is as an appreciator. And you could try that on for size. When people ask you, well, what do you do? Isn't that a question people often ask? So what do you do? Well, I'm an appreciator. Well, let's see you do it then. And that's what Bhakti Yoga is. because there are unlimited gifts to appreciate. So let's talk about appreciation a little more. Look at the next slide. What are some of the unlimited gifts that are in the world? Just, you named some that you brought back. We got Mojo, the cat. We've got a friend, Mayank, who was appreciated, Tony appreciated. But let's just look at some of the wonders of the world that you can appreciate. Any forces of natural laws in the universe, of nature, that you might appreciate. And list them in the chat box or just speak them out. Gravity. Gravity. Shweka, why are you appreciating gravity? Mother Earth. Oh yeah. Sunshine. Nice. Here's another poem as you're thinking, or excerpt from a poem from Henry David Thoreau on Walden Pond. He writes, "Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air, drink the drink, taste the fruit, and resign yourself to the influence of the earth." Nothing would stay where it is on our planet, wouldn't be next to the sun, and we would cease to exist without gravity. Thank you, Shweka. Spring season, Mayank is appreciating. Sundar appreciating association. So if we start making lists as appreciators, say it's your occupation to make a list of all the things you appreciate, I guarantee you never come to the end of it. You'll be fully engaged as an official appreciator. So homework, next time somebody asks you, what do you do? Tell them, I'm an appreciator. It's like, so what does that mean? It's like, I make long lists, infinitely long lists of things that I appreciate in life. You want to see me try? You want to see me do it right now? And start appreciating. Okay, let's look at a couple more slides. Blanca appreciates good company. That's a good one. I like that. So the question then is, as an appreciator, since that's my occupation, what's my capacity? And so the Bhagavad Gita talks about the 3 modalities. And according to how we've developed ourselves, again, yoga is a cultivation. It's a practice. To the degree that I've applied the principles of yoga, to that degree, I develop my appreciating capacity. So the modalities which we've talked about in these sessions previously either limit us or give us more access to appreciation. So sattva is the highest modality in this world, in the material world, sattva. It means we become aware of our existence as spiritual beings. And in that modality, we have what's called expansive appreciation. The next level down is rajas. And in rajas, I have restricted appreciation. There's things I appreciate, there are other things I don't appreciate. In tamas, which is darkness, the lowest mode, I have no appreciation. Now I want to ask you a personal question, if you don't mind. Since I volunteered my secret of sitting on the plane wondering what my occupation is. Have you ever been in a state of mind where you couldn't appreciate anything? In other words, you maybe come slumped down on the couch and you think like, I don't have anything. I don't like anything. Nobody likes me. My mother used to have a song like, nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. I'm going to go and eat worms. Something like that. When I'd become completely morose as a child and there's this mood. Have you ever felt that you, for a fleeting moment or for a day, a month or longer, that I don't have anything. I can't appreciate anything. Has that state of mind ever Yes. Nirali said yes. Felt that all is not right with me or myself. Rajesh said yes. Carrie said, of course. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear why you mean that, how you mean that, Carrie. Of course. And Sundar, with a smile, says, that's my default state, not to appreciate. I need to consciously make efforts to appreciate the gifts around me. Wow, nice comments. Eric says, yes, I have felt morose as a state of unconsciousness. As soon as I realize I'm in that state, I can come out of it. And Carrie says, when everything goes wrong, right? Okay. I mean, I said, when everything goes wrong, right? Let's look at that phenomena. I just wanted us to be aware or to point out that these states of appreciation, whether expansive, restricted, or none at all, no ability to appreciate, are caused by our conditioning. And in the yoga practice, coming to sattva, or the modality of light in our lives, means simultaneously we're opening our appreciation capacity. It becomes expansive. We can appreciate everything. How much can we appreciate? Let's see some more slides. I'm going to say some things that are extremely shocking. So if you don't like to be shocked, please, just for a moment, we don't want you to leave, but just for a moment, you can cover your ears. Spiritual practice means to increase our appreciating capacity. This is a fundamental truth of the practice of yoga, which means spiritual practice. And I just wanted you to have that phrase in case you're planning on getting a tattoo. You can put this somewhere, like in your arm or leg, so you can remember. So oftentimes we hear about living in the present. What is a practical means to come into the present? And I see this is a technique to show me how I'm in the present because I'm here. And so how is it that I can bring myself into the present? Because the mind tends to head off on a train to tomorrow, or go back and dig through the dumpster of yesterday. But how do I come into the now? Well, the wisdom text suggests that if you're in your occupation of gratitude, you're naturally in the present. But I want to point out something to you about this phrase, gratitude calls us to the present. When I wrote it, I was thinking of it in two ways. We have a present, and it calls our attention to the presence that we have. That is presence with a T, TS, meaning there's so many gifts being synonymous with presence. But we may possibly forget about them. But when I'm grateful, when I cultivate gratitude, then I come to the present. What is the present? I mean, it's everything about our lives and everything around us. Okay, next slide. Gratitude is the most rare and valuable substance. Oftentimes people think of, I don't know, plutonium or some rare wine that we get here in California for $10,000 in a bottle. I mean, people spend more than that for some substance, if fermented grapes. But what about a little bottle of gratitude? What if you could, when you're slumped down on your couch and you're thinking, woe is me, I hate the world hates me, there's nothing good in my life at all. And then someone gave you a little bottle of gratitude and you could take a drop, and then suddenly you could appreciate expansively what was in your life. What would it be like? How would you feel suddenly? You drink a little drop of gratitude. Let me see. I'll try some here. Just happen to have a cup. Oh goodness, I wasn't seeing the world in an accurate frame just a minute ago, but now I am. I'm happy to be here, as we've been here over the last year, and to have your association. There's a little shop in Old Delhi. I haven't been to in many years, but I used to make the trek through Delhi, which is no simple process to get to Old Delhi. And they had the rarest of scented oils there. Some of them cost thousands of dollars for a little tiny bottle. Not that I was buying those, but I often think of substances like gratitude. What if you were able to get it in a bottle in some little shop somewhere on the other side of the earth, and then preserve that and take a little bit? Yes, well, that can be cultivated. We can drink that. Gidget said it would be nice if it was that easy. And Manpreet, yeah, it would feel nice. Sudden burst of joy from Nicole. And Nirali says, happy and enjoy what I have. It's more than I deserve, however, forgetting the focus on gratitude, memory issue. Blanca, times when I've felt my faults and mistakes, my previous generations make endless lists so heavy that determine my present and future, just too much to fight, to fix. I guess that's past versus present, hope, acceptance, peace. Yeah, the forces of the mind are formidable, but the little bottle of gratitude can overcome all of that, actually. So let's see a couple more slides, and then I'll take some reflections live on the box itself. First of all, consciousness can be adjusted by gratitude, and I'm going to prove it through this official document, which has been entered into evidence in courts of law to prove the efficacy of gratitude. Are you ready? Here we go.
Here now. Oh, don't do that. Just hold still.
That hurts!
If you'd hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much.
Well, if you hadn't have run away, this wouldn't have happened.
If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the West Wing!
Well, you should learn to control your temper. Now hold still. This might sting a little. By the way, thank you for saving my life.
You're welcome.
You could see the dramatic change that was indicated by the soundtrack and the relationship shift. Everyone around, all the teacups, teapots, everyone noticed it when it's just a slight expression of gratitude, like thank you, appreciate. It takes the conversation, the state of consciousness to a different level, that I'm not taking anything for granted. I appreciate. Just the phrase, whatever you appreciate, appreciates. And so if you can, although it's rare, you can pull out that little bottle of gratitude at any time. It's the great wealth of a human being. You don't have to go to Chandi Chowk. That's the part of Delhi that's very hard to get to, where that little shop is, Chandi Chowk. And you can create that gratitude. It's part of you. It's what you are. It's an appreciator. You are an appreciator. And if you turn that appreciation into a substance and you judiciously administer it in all different situations in your life, deliberately, then you'll find that the world around you adjusts, just as we saw in that major motion picture. I mean, obviously, the writers of that were thinking about this principle, and it was expressed there kind of dramatically, but you'll see it in your own relationships. And wherever you are, if you express sincere gratitude, not only you, but everyone around you will suddenly be affected by that substance. So that brings to the principle which I have elevated to this status of a mantra, and that is whatever you appreciate appreciates, as in it grows, as in a bank account. Your money appreciates in your 401k. So similarly, your appreciation grows when you offer it in various ways and you express it. So don't feel hindered in doing your job. Your job is what? An appreciator. So feel free. No one can stop you from that. In fact, Viktor Frankl, in his book, recalling what it was like to be held captive in a Nazi concentration camp, talks about how no one can take away that principle from you, even in the most dire circumstances. You can swim in gratitude, even when the external circumstances are bleak or beyond bleak. Okay, so whatever you appreciate appreciates, you can apply that. And on the other side, beware of entitlement. Entitlement is the idea that I am something so special already that I deserve. There's a force of entitlement which blocks all. It's like the kryptonite to the superpower of gratitude, entitlement. Be careful of it. There's a verse from one of the women saints in the ancient literature called Srimad Bhagavatam. Her name, she was a queen, and people would come to her for yoga teachings, to receive her teachings. And in one section of this book on Bhakti Yoga, she writes about the way to actually open your consciousness and receive all the gifts of the universe. So it's beautiful poetry. It's in Sanskrit. She says, Janmaishvaya Shuta Shribir Edamana Madapuma Naivar Hat Yavitatum Vai Twama Akinchana Gocharam. So she said, if you feel entitled because you have some learning or intelligence, or because you're very beautiful, you deserve, because you come from a good family, or not. I mean, whatever you consider it to be. She said, this is a kind of intoxication, a toxic substance, actually, and it blocks all the flow of spiritual knowledge from the universe. So she says, how should you counteract it? Become what's called akinchana. Akinchana, interesting word in Sanskrit. Kinchana means something, and akinchana means I don't have anything. I'm not entitled to anything. I appreciate everything, but I'm not entitled to anything. So she said, this is the platform through which you can expand your consciousness unlimitedly. Be akinchana. And that way you can swim in gratitude if you become akinchana. Does that sound reasonable? Possible? Because the world is a miracle. Everything about us, around us, is miraculous. There's not one particle in this world that's the same as another. There's not a sunset or a painted sky that's the same as another. And there's not one person that's exactly the same as another. Everything is completely unique. I'm going to reveal another secret. My name, which is actually, my nickname is Vaish, but it comes from a Sanskrit name I received when I went into monkhood back in 1973, and I received a spiritual name from my teacher, Vaisheshika Das. So Vaisheshika comes from a Sanskrit word Vishesha, which indicates that everything is unique and special. There's not one thing that's the same as another. So how is it that I become bored with the world and look at it as one category, and that is meh? There's nothing in it for me, nothing to appreciate. Let's take a look at that on the next slide. Stephen Wright, here's some practical advice. It came in the form of one of his jokes. He said, I heard that you don't know what you've got till it's gone, so I gave away everything. Now I can actually appreciate what I had. And actually, that's not so far from the practice, and that is selfless service is the way of giving away what we have. We have some energy to expend. We have our life energy. After all, money is just representative of our life energy. We work for it, and someone says, here's a little marker. It's got some ink on paper, say, or a little digital readout on a computer screen, say, here's some of your reserved life energy. You traded your life energy for this. So the point is, if you give your life energy in whatever form it's stored, or if you give it in the raw form of what you have right now at this moment in service, then it appreciates, it grows, and you're able to appreciate it. Have you ever been so used to a painting in your house, for instance, that you don't see it anymore? And then you have friends that come from another place, first time they come to your house. They come in and they look and they say, wow, that's so nice. And then you realize, oh, that old thing? Oh, yeah, actually, it is pretty nice. It came from the King of Prussia, was bequeathed to my great, great, great grandfather, and it passed down through many generations. And there was this show on many, many years ago on public television about people who had artifacts in their homes. I just remember seeing a clip of a man who was for 20 years sitting on Kit Carson's horse blanket. And then he brought it to these curators who could assess how much artifacts are worth. And they said, oh, this is worth about $5 million. And the man started crying. He said, I just thought it was a blanket to sit on when I was watching television. But it turned out it was a $5 million blanket that belonged to a famous American character in history. So everything that we have around us is actually priceless. It's not even 5 million. It's more than that. And I'm just sitting on it watching television, perhaps. And so when we start inviting other people by giving what we actually have, then that'll grow in our consciousness. So bhakti yoga also means selfless service. It means I give away what I have in service, and counterintuitively, it actually grows in my life. I become wealthy by serving, not the other way around. That is holding on. So it doesn't matter how much I have if I don't have gratitude. And if I have gratitude, it doesn't matter how much I have. So if you've ever noticed that when you have gratitude, even the littlest or the smallest of opulence that you have in your life becomes augmented. But if you don't have gratitude, you can have all the wealth of the world and it's still meh. That's tamas, that's darkness, or at best, rajas, where you just have restricted appreciation. But in sattva, in yogic, the highest consciousness, you have gratitude at every moment for everything. So this is something that has been studied ad infinitum, that money has nothing to do with happiness. It's just energy, and you can't handle it without gratitude. What I mean by that is, let's just say if you don't have gratitude and a purpose in life, if you get a huge inheritance or you win the lottery, you'll just be crushed by it. But if you have this mood of selfless service and gratitude, then you'll be able to use that energy. So we've been bequeathed more than just money. We've been given a human form through which we can refine ourselves. But if I don't develop gratitude, I'm just crushed by that asset. It just seems like too much responsibility and I squander it. So let's take a few comments from the, I need to hear a human voice in here. Okay, so some of you who are there listening, I just need to hear a human voice. You can unmute and just give a reflection. Reflection means, of course, it's like light, but anything that lit your consciousness for a moment. You said, well, that's a concept that perhaps I could employ in my life. Just reflect it back, say it back so that it gets augmented in this Zoom room.
Hello.
Eric, please.
I really like the idea of writing lists of things I'm grateful for, writing long lists. I used to do that every morning and I found it really worked. So I'm going to try and get back into that. And I like the idea that whatever you appreciate appreciates the same meaning. And then entitlement is what blocks appreciation. It's like the kryptonite. I like that.
It blocks your superpower of gratitude. Thank you very much, Eric. Deeply appreciate it. Ranjani?
Hi.
Hi.
Glad to be here. Thank you. So I find that whenever I'm feeling down and in a low state, just thinking of and counting off things that I can be grateful for and happy about just shifts my mood so completely. And then within a few minutes, I forget what I was so upset about. So it's a very powerful antidote to feeling down or low.
Oh, thank you very much. I love that. How you can shift your consciousness through taking a little drop of this substance, to regain the superpower of gratitude at any minute. Thank you for sharing that, Ranjani.
Excuse me, I have something to share. Hi, this is Carrie.
Hey, Carrie, please go ahead.
So I have an opposite problem when it comes to writing lists down. I used to be a heavy list person, writing everything down every day, and it actually caused anxiety in me.
Yes. So I have an anecdote for that. An antidote, not an anecdote, an antidote. And that is one of the reasons I'm suggesting that we become overburdened by lists is because although we may write them, they may not be practical. We need something practical to express the gratitude. And so try, if you're making a list, to, in fact, I wrote this morning on my walk. There's 3 aspects. I have gratitude, number 1. I show gratitude. I express gratitude. So turn the gratitude list into how can I express it? How can I show it? And it could become something practical. For instance, online, there are long lists of things that you can do. Like here's a list off the internet right now. Gratitude in action. 30 ways, what is it called? 30 ways to give thanks. So the first one is start a gratitude journal. List 3 things you're grateful for each day. And then number 2, give a thank you note to someone who doesn't expect it. 3, give a bouquet of fall flowers to somebody you appreciate. 4, set a grateful example. Say thank you for kids' help with table setting or toy cleanup. Here's number 5, light a candle and focus on a recent blessing. These are more active and they're more in the mood of selfless service. So if you try shifting just the kind of passive ideas of being grateful into what's an activity in selfless service that I can do to another to express gratitude, and then you actually do it, then you'll find that the list comes alive a little bit more. Does that help, Carrie?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Miriam.
I want to share something from a couple of nights back about the gratitude. So I was sleeping in the bed, and then I remember the situation specifically around the relationship, and I got so nervous that I couldn't sleep. And it just suddenly came to my mind that what I have to be grateful and show the gratitude to. And then I turned to God and just remembered all the other people, all the people in my life that I have gratitude towards to. And I start thanking God that I'm grateful for this person, that person, that person, and I just brought it in. And suddenly just shifting my attention to gratitude in that moment, it just gave me so calm and I could really sleep at night. So just, I don't know, I just thought that I would share this right now that you're talking about gratitude.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And it's in your sharing, we can feel it in your voice and see it in your countenance since you turn your camera on, that there's a very positive, powerful energy that comes from that. And in fact, joy and gratitude want to share themselves. Otherwise, what good are they? So similarly, when you talk about our original conscious source, God, and the idea of, everything comes from a common source, we're all united on one level. And when we're able to actively express gratitude and point our gratitude in a particular direction. I mean, after all, the word gratitude comes from a Sanskrit word, grananti, which means to sing. And it's like this idea of I'm so overflowing that I sing it out, I express it. That's part of the practice of bhakti, is to, sing out of gratitude. So points well taken. Thank you very much, Miriam. Gidget, please.
Hello, it's so good to be here. I sort of joined late because I couldn't get on. So I said, instead of getting frustrated, I'll just join when I can. I like that Miriam brought up God. Because I'm a person who's a believer, I've known about so many preachers, pastor, always talk about the attitude of gratitude. But when it's all broken down, it's about just being thankful. I seen in the chat how people said, I'm thankful that they could breathe, and I'm thankful for that. And that is an attitude of gratitude. At the same time, just to be thankful. I put in there to be thankful for the good and bad. Somebody said yes, because it's learning. But it is hard to be thankful for those bad things and to realize that somehow, some way, some good will come out of it. So it is what you believe in the mind. And forgive me, but I wish it was as simple as just taking a pill or drinking a little bottle. If that was on the market, there would be a line for gratitude. Because I don't want to take up too much time, but as one of your slides showed, the little girl, I think it was the entitlement slide.
Yeah.
I think entitlement has changed. There's going to be a new kind of entitlement. And people have to realize when they think about entitlement, it's someone childish. So that's why it's good to use a kid, because it's only a kid who feels like, I deserve, that's not fair. I want my way. You're not privileged, little kid. So get in line and be thankful for what I can give you. So I think when they have it, and then I also thought I put in the chat, when people are bored, just like I used to tell my children, it's because you're boring. There's too much in this beautiful world that you can do. So if you can't find something, it's because of you.
Words of wisdom, Gidget.
So
Very
I'm
powerful.
so happy I was able to be here. I always believe that we are blessed. Working at Intel, we are blessed. So we should be blessed to be a blessing. Why have a gift and just keep it to yourself?
Wow, thank you
for allowing me to speak.
Oh boy. Well, you're open forum anytime, Gidget, please. Thank you very much. You're getting a lot of love on the chat box, and also everybody's appreciating, clapping hands. Thank you very much. JM, I'll show a few more slides because unfortunately our time's limited here. Linda said Gidget rocks. Okay, so the cultivation of gratitude. That's what it is. Well, here's a little, another clip for you. You can go ahead and show this. I think we're getting the music from the opening. The video speaks for itself. The transformations take place from within.
What
And
clip was it?
I'll
From
post it in the chat here.
oh, okay.
And let's see the last couple slides. So it's tangible. Gratitude is a thing. However, it's a metaphysical thing. Is there a meter that we measure it with, just like electricity or velocity? No, but we can see it manifest outwardly in all the various environments in our life when we take to the process of bhakti yoga or the yoga of gratitude. It's a discipline, gratitude, and the practice to bring the mind to and to live in gratitude, which is the ultimate goal of the bhakti yoga process, realizing that our lives are actually coming from a higher source. Everything about us is being offered as a gift. And even as we move through the world, the so-called reversals of fortune that come upon us can also be taken as a gift as well for our refinement to come to the highest version of ourselves. Which means seek the valuable lesson in every setback or difficulty. This is the quintessential attitude of a person steeped in gratitude. Is it possible? Yes. And finally, disappointment looks at the past, anxiety looks to the future, but gratitude looks at the present. Looking at the present, that is the present moment and the present, the gift that we have at every second. So we have a few more slides, but because we've run out of time, I'm going to just mention that this gratitude is a superpower. I suggest that by its cultivation through the process of bhakti yoga, we not only change ourselves, but we also change the world around us. And the forces of resistance are the force of entitlement, through which I think I deserve more, I have to have more, and so forth, not realizing what we are is already miraculous and what's around us is miraculous. And if we dive into that pool of gratitude, rather than giving in to the force of resistance or entitlement, then we actually start to live our real lives. This is the life of awakening. This is the life of bhakti yoga. And this is our real superpower. So gratitude is a topic that we could expand on more and more. We only touched on a few points today. However, I would say also it's something to experiment with. It's not simply a philosophy or a theoretical concept. It's actually something that you can employ in your life, and you can act it out through selfless service in various ways. JM, do you have any comments? And were there any slides that were left behind so far today that you think we should absolutely flash before we close?
No, I think there are a couple of application items which we'll be covering in the subsequent programs. So we should be good with that.
Okay. And speaking of subsequent programs, would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah, so we do have this series, the Success Sadhana series for next 7 weeks, where every week we will be touching upon one superpower which can lead to a particular state. So that next one, again, same time, same day, do expect this posters coming out next week as well for the subsequent series.
Okay. Now, high in the Himalayas, the yogis who meditate in caves come out every once in a while to get some fruits and roots. When they see each other on the paths, they greet each other with a saying, keep the transcendental vibration going, and it goes like this: Hari Bol. So since we're all in little cave-like boxes here on our Zoom rooms all over the world, let's say goodbye to one another by coming off of mute and turn on your camera and just say Hari Bol.
Haribo.
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 Thank you very much, everybody.